Good morning, Minister Tom here. First, let me address something that has come up. I've been criticized for doing videos wearing a t-shirt. I wear a t-shirt to show people that I'm a regular guy. I may be a minister, I may have passed tests, and I've got a certificate on the wall that gives me certain abilities to marry, to baptize, to do funerals, and to do some other things. The state allows that for me. I just want to be able to say, I'm one of you. And being one of you, I'm just here to enlighten you or to educate you in certain aspects of life. One being the Bible and God, the other being politics. Sometimes I'll talk about other stories that have to do with life and the Bible. And today is no exception. Today I'm going to be talking off of verses out of Ecclesiastes, and I'm mispronouncing it, a song created by Pete Seeger and Judy Collins, 59. However, it really didn't make anything until 1965 when he and Joni Collins had actually made it into a hit. I thought it had come from 1970. It may have been re-released in 1970 because I tend to remember it then. But 1965 was when it was actually released. And during the period of time, those 5 years, the church went through a great deal of change. It was grabbing the folk genre into a new way of gaining parishioners into the church. Frankly, for me as a young man, I didn't like it. I did not like the idea of sitting around with a group of people to confess my sins. I also didn't really like the music all that much. I enjoyed it privately, certain songs, Puff the Magic Dragon, which was one of those folk songs, and it wasn't about marijuana. It was just a simple song about a boy and his imagination. I enjoyed it, but it wasn't a place for me as a conservative for religion. It was a revival, and it brought back many, many families back to the church. So here I am. I'm going to quote from that book and show you how the Byrds used it to make a popular song out of it. Now, if you haven't heard the song, I do suggest that you get the song. It's called Turn, Turn, Turn by the Byrds, and it's easily found on YouTube. It's found on any streaming platform. You could hear it. They do take literary license with the verses, but the general idea is still the same, and I enjoy it. I'm having a plaque made of that verse, and maybe you will too. And here we go. To everything there is a season, and a time to every purpose unto heaven. A time to be born, a time to die, a time to plant, and a time to pluck up that which was planted. A time to kill, a time to heal, a time to break down, and a time to build up. A time to weep, a time to laugh, a time to mourn, and a time to dance. A time to cast away stones, and a time to gather stones together. A time to embrace, and a time to refrain from embracing. A time to get, and a time to lose. A time to keep, a time to cast away. A time to rend, a time to sow. A time to keep silence, and a time to speak. A time to love, and a time to hate. A time of war, and a time of peace. I do not know the exact history as to why the band used that piece of scripture. I can guess. The Vietnam War was going on, and they were fighting viciously. Richard Nixon had just been elected president and took office about a year before, and one of his campaign promises was to end the Vietnam War. Artists, during that period of time being revolutionaries, tried to use anything possible in order to move along that process. Protests on both college campuses and in the streets were taking place. People were getting shot. Martin Luther King died 2 years before. So did Bobby Kennedy. The country was divided. Does it sound like maybe it was today? Let me tell you, it is. The Democratic National Committee is meeting today to make Kamala Harris their presidential pick for the upcoming election. She'll be inaugurated, so to speak. I think you all know what my position is on that. And being a minister, not having a congregation, I could tell you I'm not all for it. I'm voting for the other guy. And anyway, that's a little bit of the history of why that song was being used. And again, this is my theory and not fact. I suggest you look it up. It's a very important piece of scripture, and I applaud the Byrds for being able to utilize some of it in a literal way to bring a message to all the people in 1970 as to its importance. Again, Minister Tom here, and I will see you soon. I also look forward to your comments on this video. Take care.